Welcome to Ann and Dorian's Our Universal Force podcast, coming to you live from Crown Heights Radio in Brooklyn, New York. We can definitely figure that part out. And we have the domain, so all we have to do is just set up its own page.
Yeah.
And then it won't be... So we need to do that sooner or later rather than later, quite honestly. Since right now, because it was need to change all the links that are every the more links we start putting out, the less we want to move, the less we want to have to move things around.
Yeah.
So
I understand that.
Yep. Because it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, it's on Twitter, it's on, like, we're embedding the link and the URL to our Universal Force.
Yeah.
Kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
That will be what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 All right. Do we want to do some warm-ups?
Yes, we do want to do warm-ups. How do I sound today? Warmed up and enunciated.
Enunciation.
I filled you up.
Now that we have practiced our words and numbers and letters, I will burn the last tiny bit of this blunt.
That's all you, baby.
Yeah.
I thought you gave that to John last night.
I tried to, but we were all drunk, so it didn't work out well.
Right.
Feel it wash over you, my microphone.
The ganja weed.
Breathe. All right. Are you good for breathing? Feel good?
Yeah, as good as I'm going to.
Perfect. First off, welcome, everyone, to the Our Universal Force podcast with Ann and Dorian. We are at episode 8.
Ocho.
I almost said 3. Episode
That's
Ocho.
if you were to cut 8 in half.
It would become a 3. I don't know what the other side would look like. An E.
An E. A-N-N-E.
A-N-N parentheses, open parentheses, E, close. No, is it? Yeah, parentheses, right? That's what I've been writing.
That is not a parenthesis.
What is that? It's not a quotation mark.
It's not a quotation. Okay, so there's a
parenthesis.
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 There's
Open
2
parenthesis.
of them.
E,
Plural.
Closed parenthesis. Singular in opposite forms. Rawr.
So we are each other's half.
Yes, with an E in the middle. Or something of that nature. But yes, welcome to episode 8 of the hour. I can't speak today. Welcome to episode 8 of the Our Universal Force podcast with Ann and Dorian. We want to thank everyone for tuning back in with us. We hope you've enjoyed the journey so far. We have exciting topics and fun pleasure chest items to discuss with you.
And if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to our world.
Woohoo!
We're going to be sharing with you the highlights from the past week experiences we've had here in New York City and Brooklyn, and various topics today on sexual health and STIs and shopping for each other.
Yes, learning to style and shop for each other, as well as some pleasure chest items, which include dancing together. So fun.
So fun, so good.
And submitting to each other. Like Dom submissive?
More like I don't need to be right here.
Okay, gotcha.
And I'm following you.
Okay.
And I'm going to enjoy this. Relinquish control.
Dom submissive, close enough
And
to me.
that. I mean, it's the same thing.
True.
Really, a lot of sexual kinks are just highlighted instances in everyday life on blast times 100.
Yes.
And perhaps straps and paints and pies and thighs and whatever it might be.
Pies and thighs. I can ride with that. So first off, we want to start with our highlights for this past week. We've had an exciting week and accomplished some monumental milestones.
All of those
All the
M's.
momentous monumental milestones, MMMs. And what would be your highlight for this week, Anne?
My highlight from this week, Dorian, was booking our wedding venue
Yes.
for June 20th next year, 2020.
Boom.
And we signed the contract and put some cash money down. Went to the space, met with the event coordinator, and got along and saw the space in a new light. We had been there beforehand, and this is Gran Torino. For any of you who haven't been to Williamsburg, this is one of the few buildings in Williamsburg that doesn't have a building on top of it. And it used to be a car garage, from what it looks like. I'm actually assuming that. And from the name, it used to be Riviera Road, and they recently changed their name to Gran Torino. And just seeing the space in the light was beautiful. We usually go there for a party on Friday nights. And on this occasion, this was Tuesday afternoon. And we took a walk around the space and could really start imagining what our ceremony, reception, cocktail hour is going to look like. That's our format. And peeped the menu and saw what they have to offer. And it's going to be great. It's going to be delicious. It's beautiful. And it's a good balance between outdoor space, indoor space. And I just couldn't be more excited to have this locked in. And nothing's really ever locked in, right? But it feels like we're making steps towards this initial party. Not initial, but this party we're having.
Okay. I like it.
That's my highlight.
That's your highlight. Wonderful. Well, that was exciting. It was exciting. I was happy to do that. We've been waiting for that for a couple of weeks to make that happen. So we are on the way. Have the venue. Whew. Relief. Now on to next steps.
It's not even a relief. It's like awakening. Holy shit, this is happening. This is happening. We're getting married, and this is where it will be. And this is the first time I've ever done this before. And different waves of emotion come up that I'm not familiar with at all.
Okay. Like what?
It's a different form of excitement. It's like excitement and security, and it's not, I guess it comes from fear, but then there's another part of there's like this trifecta: the excitement, the comfort, and something from the past that's like scary. It's like terrifying. Like, don't fuck this up. It's all there, right? Right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a lot of emotions, as it should be. It's a life-changing event.
Yes.
Life-changing times in your life. In our life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To each of us, independently, we experience this a bit different. I'm wondering what you're feeling. What are you feeling?
I'm excited. I'm happy we got the
Darn.
venue picked. Because that causes a lot of people stress when they're trying to plan their wedding, is getting the venue. Because then you get the date set and you kind of can't move onto other steps, because there's a load of steps in planning your wedding, besides the legality part of going to the JP or going to the courthouse to get your papers. In order to get married, you need to, if you're having a wedding party, if it's any kind of party that's going to be close to a traditional U.S. wedding, let's say, since we're in the U.S., there's a lot of preparation that needs to go to planning a party for 150 to 250 people. Travel, into New York, figuring out hotels, figuring out vendors for florists and photographers and transportation and coordinating, getting everyone's information, seeing how many people we would want to have. There's a lot that goes into it. And it's exciting and it's fun. And as we get closer, I think, to the day, for me, more of the emotions will start to come into play once I see everything's kind of like moving along and we're not stressing over the planning portion of this. Then it's
already done.
Right. It's going to settle into okay, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. But once we're starting to get we're kicking down we're checking off the main boxes as we're going through the wedding planning process. So I'm excited. I'm fortunate to have witnessed people doing this a lot. So
right, being a DJ in the entertainment business.
Yes. So
I've worked many weddings.
I've been around weddings for years. It's been around, like, my whole schedule was involved in people's weddings and talking to couples like us, going through the process and listening to their fears and trying to calm them down from their fears, because they come to me with all these conversations. My personality tends to welcome those kind of fears. So I've had
and
couples,
you're in HR.
And I'm in HR.
It follows you
also.
professionally in the corporate
yes.
business world.
Mm-hmm.
So folks out there, should you have any questions regarding wedding preparation, reach out to us at ouruniversalforce@gmail.com. We also created this week our some independent emails too, so you can reach out to Anne, ANNE, at ouruniversalforce.com, or Dorian, DORIAN, at ouruniversalforce.com, which gets us into our next highlight, right, Dorian? What's the next highlight here?
So my highlight for this week has been working on our brand and working on our podcast.
Shazah! Like a Jedi here. Tell us about that.
Evil Jedi.
Not so evil. You just have the insight.
Thank you. Appreciate that. My highlight was working on our podcast. It takes a lot of work outside of just the recording and planning for what we're going to talk about, and discussing the podcast together. It takes a lot of pretty much online and computer work. When it comes to marketing, comes to advertising, comes to editing the recordings, doing the sound engineer side of this, making sure it sounds beautiful for all you listeners, getting it up on the proper sites so the podcast can be broadcast, doing all of the work that comes with having a product and wanting to get that product out to as many people as possible, comes with some time and effort. And this week, I feel as if I was able to accomplish a lot of the tasks that I had been learning about that needed to happen, or as well as that I had been laying out in front of me to do. So it's been really good. I feel very good about what we were able to accomplish in making sure we got some more episodes out, making sure we got the podcast being broadcast on the right pages with the right tags, and reaching out to listeners and reaching out to prospective listeners, and really just pushing our universal force out to the world so people can listen and enjoy and learn and have some fun and maybe open up their relationships, because that's the goal of making sure that others can listen to this, is to share the information that we're experiencing and the experiences that we have with others, so maybe their relationships can transform into something beautiful and happy. So I feel good. That was my highlight for this week.
Excellent.
And that includes booking our wedding.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
So, yeah, there we are. So,
and we did a lot.
We're out there. We're out there. We're accessible. And it was so exciting for me this week, having gotten updates from you on our expansion and where we were. We're now on iTunes and a lot of major broadcasting,
Spotify, SoundCloud, all the places, Google,
internet applications, and we're so excited, like you're saying, Dorian, to share our information and to have you all refer back to us and share what we have, but don't talk shit. But really, taking what we have and
I said don't talk shit. That's funny.
mm-hmm.
It's true. So we want to
talk, engage, be with us out there.
Exactly.
We'll get your feedback, and we would love your feedback. And the main reason we're doing this anyway is to have our spirit as 1 hour force be available for others.
It's true.
And however you take it, we'd love to know how you do. And we'd love to inspire you or create some sort of shift in your day or maybe your relationships.
Yes.
The ones that are sought out. So things are being open. Will you listen?
Exactly. Speaking of, I want to give some shout outs to some of our listeners. So, Anne, I know we looked at this, but I don't know if you'll see if you remember. What were our top 3 countries where listeners have listened to? Look, top 3 countries where the most listeners are.
Countries?
Yes.
Whoa. Okay. Pop quiz. And I haven't seen this part of information. I've seen what sources. Countries. Well, I'm going to say the United States first off.
Okay.
We're speaking English. We're recording in New York City.
Okay.
There's another country?
It's 2 more countries that are the top that stand out.
Out of how many countries?
Out of 3.
Oh, shit. So, okay, rephrase that question. Well,
what are the 3 countries? United States, you got
United
one.
States.
You got one.
Italy?
No. Well, I'll give you one more guess.
England.
Nope. Germany and India.
Whoa.
Yes. So shout out to Germany and India. And of course, the United States. And next, what are the top... Oh, let me give you some cities. There's too many that are too close. So Brooklyn, obviously, has the most
Number
listeners.
one.
Number one. Then New York as a whole. That includes like Manhattan and Queens and Harlem and the Bronx. And
Uptown Girls.
Yes. Then we have Mamaroneck, New York.
Where's that? Where's Mamaroneck?
Mamaroneck.
Mamaroneck.
Mamaroneck, New
Out on
York.
the island?
I don't know. Might not be. Maybe. Staten Island.
What up?
Long Branch, New Jersey.
Hey.
Longmont, Colorado.
What up, Mom?
Collingswood, New Jersey.
Huh.
I know that's that. Washington, D.C. Yeah.
Hello.
Springfield, New Jersey. Jersey City, New Jersey. Miami Beach, Florida. Woo!
Yay!
Yay!
Hi, Miami.
Andhra Pradesh. Viskanpatnam. That's in India. Toms River, New Jersey. Englishtown, New Jersey. A lot of Jersey folks. I guess.
Well, I wonder
right
why.
I wonder
Hello,
why.
that's our mere existence.
Exactly. Belmore, New York. Sunny. I don't know what Belmore is.
No,
I don't know. Sunnyside, New York. It's Queens.
Okay, Queens, what's up?
Rumson, New Jersey.
Rump.
Hayes, Geisheim.
Germany.
Yes. In McCordsville, Indiana.
I know who that is in McCordsville.
I'll have to find out.
Well, hello, hey. Let us know who you are. Don't be strangers.
Yeah, shout out to all of our listeners, wherever you are. We would love to see this number keep growing into multiple countries, multiple
Please
states,
share
multiple cities.
And to give us 5 stars or however best fit you would rate us.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that. We appreciate all that.
Tell us what you think. Tell us what you feel.
We can only learn through feedback. We
Yes.
listen to this podcast every week.
We listen all the time. We probably listen 10 times more than anyone else will.
Especially you doing all the post-production.
Yeah.
And then beyond, we're both doing all the marketing and media. So all the direction. And so far our flow is working out.
It's working nicely. We like it. So those are our highlights for this past week. We also had a fun time. We went out to dinner. We had to hang out with some friends, all that good stuff. And so great week. But
As
those
always.
are our highlights, as always. So now it's time to go into our first topic. And Anne, what's our first topic?
Our first topic is sexual health. More specifically, STIs and how to handle that in budding relationships or long-term relationships.
Okay. Wow, that's a topic that I know many people have.
We're going there. Well, 50 to 80% of people have herpes 1 or herpes 2.
Yes, I've heard that.
And it's so undetectable. Oftentimes people don't even have outbreaks, and that's one of the reasons why so many people have it. And it might not be noticeable. Additionally, doctors' offices, it's most commonly not tested for. They generally test for gonorrhea. What are some of the other diseases? Chlamydia. And so you actually have to ask at the doctor's office to have HIV to be tested for herpes 1 and 2.
Okay.
So for anyone out there, if you're sexually active and get regular checkups, I hope you do. Annual checkups is important, especially if you're really sexually active.
Yeah, more often if you're sexually
more often if you're sexually active
and have multiple partners.
Yeah, just be, that's your personal responsibility.
Yes.
It's like your personal hygiene. And others do appreciate that. And I understand it's not easy to talk about.
Right.
So having the discussion with the person that you're going to be with it is really honoring their choice too, giving them a choice to engage or not. But first off, knowing if you have something and what you have too. And it really does take courage to be able to have the conversation and face that may be something that you have to deal with your own health. There's medications out there and there's natural remedies and, ways to check yourself. Again, some people don't even break out. So being aware of that just indicates that it takes a little bit of time to be with your pussy or your penis. Search around. Look in the mirror, go get tested annually, and have the discussion with your partner if you have any sort of infection, whether or not you're breaking out. I think that even still saying to the person that you're going to be with sexually that this is what you have, and educating them on this. One interesting point is you can actually pass herpes 1 down generally. So herpes 1 is the type of oral herpes that can be passed to the genitals if there's an outbreak. Mm-hmm. And a cold sore is herpes 1.
Right.
So, for anyone out there who has cold sores, that's it. A common myth is you can contract genital herpes from toilet seats. That's actually not true. The genital herpes virus, it dries out when it is exposed to air, and it's fragile. It needs to be on the skin.
Okay.
And it sucks to feel like you have an infection, to know that you have an infection. But this is what 50 to 80% of people, probably more than 50% for sure these days, I would say, have an infection.
So a lot of what you said is for like someone when they are possibly engaging a new partner. So for people who are sexually active and finding new partners or having new partners or whatever your scenario is, you're saying that we should talk to our prospective partners prior to engaging in sexual activity. So that can be oral, or that can be anything that's involving it.
Yeah, genital, just rubbing
right?
on each other, grinding.
So we pass that way too.
Skin to skin
right?
contact.
Skin to skin contact. Okay. So skin-to-skin contact involving your mouth or your genitals are basically the ways that particular, like we're talking herpes, but any of the other, assuming that any of the other STIs or STDs can be passed on. So before you engage in,
and there's like staph infection, there's all sorts of skin
right. True.
diseases.
True. So the first thing is to check yourself to make sure that you know your own health. Probably even more than once a year. I mean, if you're in a monogamous relationship with your partner and you're not involving in anything once, maybe it doesn't really matter. Get checked. You guys are, you people are good, and then keep going. And then if you need to check for any whatever reason why, you could maybe once a year. But if you're engaged sexually with multiple partners and your sexual circle is not closed off, then you need to check more often. Then probably once a year. You need to maybe every 6 months or something of that nature. And it's a basic blood test, I think, right? An urine test or just blood test? Blood test.
Yeah, blood.
It's like a blood test. And so it usually is pretty quickly, Well, that was something that we did early on in our relationship. We went and got tested. And a couple months in, we had conversations beforehand, but then we got tested to make sure we knew what was going on. We were like, okay, this is where we're at. We're good. It coincides with where we thought, and now we can move forward. But a lot of people don't do that in relationships, and a lot of people don't talk about it.
No, it's it's not taboo because it's there, it's in front of us, but we have a stigma in the United States for sexually transmitted infection and disease. And I suspect that it might have to do with AIDS, the AIDS epidemic and HIV, and how HIV had been passed, or how it can be passed. It's through blood infusion and through drug use, a needle, hypodermic needle, or anything.
And sexual.
Anything where there's an exchange of fluid, and those things are looked at as bad and scary, and hell yeah, they are. And it's also a part of our culture as human beings, and something that ought to be discussed, like budgets.
But it's newer though too, because AIDS didn't become a thing till the 80s.
True.
And prior
Same
to that,
with
people
HPV.
weren't really checking for sexually transmitted diseases at all before then. So it was 60s, free love, hippie, 70s was the club era. Drugs were really starting to become heavy. Then we had the AIDS epidemic. It's still in different drugs and more drugs in the 80s. And then it was, okay, now everyone used condoms. Now everyone started getting checked for diseases. But that was like a 90s thing. That was like a late 80s.
Club
that was
culture.
like a mid to late 80s. As far as I know, 90s thing. So it's just, I think it's new. It's a new mindset.
New.
Like our parents weren't telling us to get checked every 6 months.
No.
Because
They
that wasn't in their life. So we're like this generation, the generation that's between their, the 50s or 40s and kids that are 13, these are the first generations that this is really something over the last 20, 30 years that people are like, okay, we need to start doing this and make it regular. And so it hasn't been passed down to people. Like, we need to be passing it down to our kids.
Yeah.
And spreading the message
too.
amongst our friends and peers. Yeah, young too.
Young.
Mm-hmm.
The HPV vaccine. That was something completely new. My mom never did that.
No. Mm-mm. Nope.
And the diseases too are changing rapidly.
Right.
Because no disease, the way with genetics is that if a disease hits a particular gene and it sticks and stays.
That's because it's a virus, right? Because the viruses can mutate.
Yes.
Yeah.
It mutates into something else.
Right.
So then is passed on. So it's there's very unique strains out there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, so it is a important topic because I don't think people talk. We hear it a lot. People talk about it a lot, but people don't really talk about. Make sure you get tested with your partners. Make sure you know where you're at.
Well, and do and also if you have the disease, there's not the risk factor on some of the diseases isn't as bad as some others.
Right. Yeah. There's a varied level of actual health concerns,
And
or
that's
just
why
having
they don't
something.
test for herpes.
Right.
Is because it's so prevalent.
Well, they test for HPV a lot because it causes cancer.
Because it's cancer.
Right.
And
what are some of the other ones?
And
chlamydia does that get itchy? I don't
yeah,
remember.
I think so.
I don't know.
I can't say I've looked into that one.
No. No, yeah, I haven't looked into a lot of them, but getting tested are how you start to learn, and asking your doctor, what are these? What is it? How does it get transmitted? Which ones are more prevalent? Which ones, condoms or
the doctor really talks about it.
or
It's about birth
something
control.
similar.
It's about birth control and
Right.
maintaining your sexual health, ensuring that my doctor talked with me a bit about just checking with me on how my relationships were.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. And so couples have this discussion, or people have this discussion before they become sexually active. Now, what if you're a couple who are already together, already have been sexually active together, and you have not had this conversation yet? How do you bring this up?
Ooh, good one. Well, I would elicit some sort of recognition and, acknowledge why you would like to have the conversation. If you're the person who wants to have this conversation, or you're listening to this now and you're inspired then to have the conversation with your partners, I would say just really understand first why you want to have the conversation. What is it that's important to you? What is it that you value in the other person? And what are you trying to convey? So maybe it's that you care about their health. You care about your health. You just want to know. You're interested in exploring more sexually, and you really love what you're doing already, or you'd like it to take it to the next level. So having a premise in which you're acknowledging where you're at or where you'd like to be in your relationship, and then talking about more specifically what you'd like to be tested for and when you'd like to do it, and take that action and do it together. Ask your partner to get tested, or ask them if they've been tested and when that was and what the results were. Be sure to see if they were tested for herpes too, if you're curious to know about that one, because it's a prevalent infection that isn't tested for because of the dangers of it not being quite as high, and the liability within the medical system. And be together on this, and be the people who are now coming out in our society today, who are making this less of a hush hush conversation. Let's talk about STIs. Let's be open and vocal about them, so we can have more enjoyable sex. And that's what I would say. That's my 2 cents. Yeah.
Okay. Good. No, I think that's very important to as you mentioned, talk to your partner if you haven't had that conversation before, and as you also mentioned, to reaffirm your how good the relationship is, or whatever the status of the relationship is, things about the partner, so that it's not a hard conversation. It's not as hard of a conversation as it could be, and once you open up the dialogue, and the dialogue is there in amongst you and your partner or partners, then it's easier to re-engage that dialogue and to discuss other areas of your sexual health with your partner, whether it's pregnancy or anything else, or anything that involves your sexual health. So definitely agreed. I think that's really good. PSA for our audience.
Our topic. Let's get on to our second one,
Yeah,
Dorian.
let's get on to our second topic. So our second topic is much lighter than in sexual health and STIs. It is shopping and styling each other. So shopping for each other and styling each other. shopping as a couple, dealing with specifically, I'm going to go into like the clothes,
My
clothing and fashionable side of this. You could also talk about this in like your home, but I think that's a different conversation.
Yeah, to have, well, you shop for me quite a bit.
Yes, I do.
And when we first met, we actually got each other's sizes.
Yeah, right
and
away.
logged that
Right away.
in our contact log.
Right away.
And which particular brands you favored and liked.
What brand you were on, what size you were in
What size?
different brands.
In different brands.
Because it is, so yes, it is a very varied, people's bodies are very different all over the place.
I didn't even really have, like, you actually enlightened me to a lot of fashion and style because I had done a lot of secondhand shopping and would come across some brands that regularly, though, that like fit, like for some of my gym wear, there was like Calvin Klein and sneakers, Reeboks, Adidas, and there were particular things that I just wasn't aware of.
I think shopping, well, for me, shopping as a couple or shopping for each other has to mold into your lifestyle. So what are you doing with your time? How are you spending your time? How are you spending your time together? Makes a big difference on what you're, in my opinion, how you're using shopping as something for your relationship. In my opinion, it's giving, it's giving gifts. I view shopping for my partner as giving gifts as maybe if you're the more fashionable one or you have the better shopping etiquette.
Yes, you do.
You're better at shopping
just
as a whole.
You do for me.
Right. Then I think it's a great way to do something for your partner. I view it the same as giving flowers or taking out to a nice dinner, is going and buying a nice outfit, some shoes, or whatever it is. And part of it for you in order to do something nice and to give you something. And I feel good because I know you're excited about it and you're happy. And I'm happy when I get it right. I get the size right and the look right. And as you mentioned early on, for early things, we did find out your hat size, find out your shoe size, find out your pant size, your dress size. And then once we have that, we can totally then, if we see something we like, or we see something like, Anne would look beautiful in this, or if you see something, you're like, oh, Dorian would look great in this, and get it. If it's in your price range, in your budget, whatever it is, do it. Buy something. Everyone has their own look and feel, but once you have a partner, there's a joint look and feel that comes into it. And especially if you're in a committed partnership, and it's not just like you're dating around with a bunch of people, but when you're in a committed partnership and you're out together a lot, you're going to do specific things, or you're going to go to a restaurant and there's a probable dress code of, not dress code, but how you want to look on your date. If you're going out on dates together, you're going to need the same, like one can't be in like shorts. One person can't only have shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops, and the other person have dressy clothes, and they're trying to go out places together because they won't be able to fit into the same spaces. But like
jacket and pants.
Yeah, you need to have a balanced closet for the things you do together. So, if we go out on a lot of dates, we're going to have a lot of clothes that looks great for dates. If we're going dancing a lot, we're going to need clothes that we can feel good in, but still get sweat in and go dancing. If we're going to
the skirt's going to stay down.
And the skirt's going to stay down, right? Exactly. Or if we're going to the gym a lot together,
heavy enough.
You want to have, you're going to need gym clothes together. So whatever it is that you're doing as a couple, your wardrobes will start to slowly match a little bit. So it's nice to be able to shop thinking about the things you want to do together, and to be able to look into each other's style and closet and see what each other has. So I tend to looked at your closet and was like, okay, this is her style. These are the things that Anne likes to wear. These are the things that we're doing. Where can I what can I bring into within my shopping for you? What could I bring into the mix that is a nice add-on or addition to your closet that's in your style and something that you'll feel good wearing, and that's going to fit our lifestyle for what we do. And that's something that like I mentioned, not everyone is good at shopping even for themselves.
They don't know what looks good on them.
Or they don't have the confidence to do it, or they don't like the process of shopping.
Yeah, and they're like, well, for me, I'm like a mood shopper. I've got to be in the mood to do it, or I see it as a convenience. I need this item. I need this article of clothing, or it's a gift that I'm giving to somebody.
Right.
But in your relationship, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoy that with us. I really enjoy receiving clothing. I like wearing outfits and discovering together with you what's going to look good on my body.
Right.
And I really enjoy getting dressed up with you too. Right. Whenever we go out to these places we talk about here, we get dressed. Mm-hmm. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, we do. Get
to look good for each other.
Take pictures.
Yeah, it's fun.
Take pictures in our outfits. It's fun, and also too, shopping with each other is fun. Like we're lucky to be in New York, so we can go shopping, just walking through the street, walking through neighborhoods, and make a day of it. And we've shopped in Soho. We've shopped around Brooklyn. We've been different parts of New York. So it is fun to spend some time, maybe go out to go have a nice brunch or a nice lunch or dinner, and then say, oh, let's go to Broadway and go look at Timberland store, or go to the Mac store, or go to Clark store, or go to Sam Edelman, or to Toomey store, whatever it is that we've either talked about, or even just a window shop, and just get an idea of what each other looks like and each other's style. We're going to be seeing each other in and out of clothes for our entire life. And it'll be fun to see as we change and grow, and seasons change, and what each other likes. And fashion is an art form, in my opinion, and it's one that we can wear. So being able to be artistic and the way we choose our clothing is a way that we get to experience that art form together. Same as we experience music by playing a song that you love for someone, and you're like, oh, I want you to hear the song you think about you love this. Same piece of clothing, a dress, a beautiful pair of shoes, nice shirt, nice pair of jeans, pants, jacket, whatever it is, jewelry. It's a way of expressing love and emotion and caring for someone, but also being able to be artistic with them and with yourself. So I think it's a good place to play and experience. And a lot of couples you only see it like when they go to a wedding, or they go to some event where they get dressed up, and then they'll get made up. But that'll be like once or twice a year. Like, if you do more together, like go on more dates, go out dancing more together, do more events together as a couple, you're going to need more clothes to do these events, and it gives you more opportunity to go shopping together to get these outfits. You're like, if we're going to dinner every week, it's like we can't have the same dinner outfit. We're going to need
I spilled clams on that other shirt.
Exactly. So you're going to want to have a few different outfits, different shoes, different jackets, shirts, blouses, dresses, whatever it is. So it's definitely a fun way to play with your relationship and do something together and look good doing it. And if you have any questions on fashion, you can definitely email us at ouruniversalforce@gmail.com, because we enjoy fashion and fortunate enough or work hard enough to have decent figures and look good in clothes. Part of it. So it makes it fun.
It does. It's very enjoyable. I'm glad that you like this, and it enhances our relationship. It enhances our dates.
Does.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
It does. So that was those were our two topics. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about our pleasure chest items and Endorian's pleasure chest, and we have dancing together and submitting to each other.
We're going to pop it right open.
All right.
Reveal the pearls and gems.
So we'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and welcome to Ann and Dorian's Our Universal Force podcast, episode 8. We're about to get into our pleasure chest.
Pop.
What's pop?
It's my...
Oh, like the chest opening.
Right? Yeah.
Is it like a pirate pleasure chest? Or
I guess, I don't know, I picture it like we're getting on 1920s, and we're getting on a train to travel to
Okay.
somewhere
Okay.
to,
Like the chest.
to meet people.
Yeah.
And
It's a big chest or a
it's
little
like
chest?
a trunk. I
Oh, like a
picture
trunk. A
Yeah.
trunk.
Yeah.
And the what do they call the conductors or the baggage guys are carrying a trunk? Does it like when they drop it? Does it like jingle?
Yeah, but it's got like the metal. It's got the metal edges, corners.
Okay.
You open it up and there's like a hat rack in there.
It's a hat rack.
Well, ours has a couple different things. This pleasure chest has inside dancing together and submitting to each other. So we'll start with dancing together. And this is one of our favorite activities.
Yeah.
And ways to engage with each other, putting together music and body movement and connection. And Dorian, what is it about us dancing together that is most memorable?
What's most memorable about dancing together? Like a particular time, or just like what do I like about it?
I think in general, as a tool for relationships, like what is it that you walk away from dancing together with remembering?
Well, I just like the way it feels. I mean, for okay, so what I like is the way that I feel when we're together, dancing together. The way that we feel, we get a connection. Our bodies are in sync. It's sexual. It's energetic. It's a form of exercise. We love the club atmosphere. We love partying. So we have like a little bit of that excitement, and we dance and we move together well. So for personally, that's what I think I like about it. For others, I think it's a very good way to get connected with your partner. I think that if you
before sex, see how they move.
Oh yeah. No,
I mean, there's not that much of a difference.
If you don't have good rhythm, then you may or may not be good at sex. That's what I've always heard. Fortunately, was born with rhythm.
That's
so
what I know. You're a great dancer. You know how to move your hips. It makes sex way more enjoyable.
Right? Yeah, I agree. I don't want to say it's a definite fact, and then someone be like, "No, that's not the case. I can't dance." But
it's not a definite fact because cock size and how the vagina receives the cock has so much to do with pleasure. How you intellectually connect, that's all part of sex.
I'm making a joke.
But dancing together, it's this incredible physical movement where we're vibing. Anybody who knows like house culture, dance club culture, we dance all night long. There's this energy exchange that keeps you able to go all night long. And often it's feeding off of each other, giving and taking, and appreciating the sounds that surrounds you. The club, the party is like a little chamber. And then we reciprocate that and move our bodies.
Right.
It's sexy too. It's sexy.
I think sexy. I think it's more sexy than anything.
People dance together is so sexy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whether it be more of like a traditional style like bachata or salsa or hustle dance or Afro-Cuban or any like house like chasing. It's really cool to see people come together.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of salsa, bachata, merengue, traditional. I don't even know what you call like the club dancing, I guess, when you're not talking
grinding.
When you're not talking about a dance that has a name to that dance, but also like you said, house music, hip hop,
social dance.
Yes, there you go.
And like, let's do that more. I appreciate a cipher. We're so a dance circle where somebody's in the middle and they're dancing, or a battle where it's basically 1 versus 1. But having a couple dance together, whether you're in a relationship or complete strangers on the dance floor, having that shared expression of, I would say it's love. It really is love and respect for another person. And to see that exchange is really beautiful and contagious too. I think then other people are inspired to move. I noticed that on the dance floor. Like when we're on the dance floor moving around like together, that really brings love and joy into other people too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, I agree. It is contagious. If you're somewhere and a couple gets up dancing, more than likely another couple is going to follow.
They're like, oh, they broke the ice. We've been wanting to dance. I've been having this urge.
It's very true. Very, very true. But yet for couples, if, as a pleasure chest item, if you're in a relationship or as mentioned, or you're trying to start a relationship with someone, a good way to get to know them is to dance with them, see how their body moves, see how you move together, see how you can play with that lead follow dynamic that happens in a lot of dancing. And it's great because it doesn't matter what your gender preference is, it doesn't matter what your relationship preference is. Everyone can dance. If you're able to, and can enjoy, get to learn music that you like together, which has its own form of communication, and really just getting to explore each other. It's a great way to get to learn and trust and feel that connection. And it, as Ann mentioned, it moves into the bedroom, and that's a good foreshadow of how you and your partner will find your sexual experience together. How will sex be? Most likely, it's to be very similar to how your dancing is. Most likely.
If anything, though, it gives your sexual experience like that fire. Like you mentioned, the foreshadowing. It's like you have already had a little bit of sex. Let's face it, folks. Like dance is definitely foreplay. It's a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, great. Yeah, definitely. I was thinking the same thing. Dance is definitely a form of foreplay, and it's fun and enjoyable. And I mean, there's times when I know a couple of times we've done like, especially if we've done like salsa or something like that, we're winded, or I know I'm like feeling good. So it's a great way to exercise together too. Is being able to dance. It gives you, it ties into some of our other pleasure chest topics we've talked about in previous episodes. Being able to take a class together. That's a great date night activity. Take a salsa or a Latin dance class or house dance class or some type of ballroom dance class, whatever it is, swing or anything like that. Take a dance class together. It'll give you something to do, spend time together. It'll really help build your relationship. And it's fun. You can get to become good at it together. So it doesn't matter what your levels or what your experience is. If you have some kind of class in your area, look it up. Great activity, great bonding activity. You might even get to meet other couples or other people that can widen your peer circle or your friend circle as well. So it has added bonuses to doing something of that nature. And if not, even if it's just going out to your local place that has a DJ or has a band playing music, go. If you can go to like a nice dinner supper club that has like dinner and music, that's a great date night. Get dressed up, get some food, get out, dance a little bit. Perfect. Maybe stay at a hotel. It's a great date night activity. Anything else on dancing for our pleasure chest together?
I think it sounds good, and I want to go dancing tonight.
We did that last night. We could tonight. We were talking about that tonight. See how you feel. But we probably go dancing every week, give or take, about every week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes
we dance all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Whenever we have music on, there's definitely a moment where we're next to each other and we're both moving. We both have great musicality too, so we're just constantly.
Yeah, as DJs too, we are in scenarios where there's music.
When we're sexting, it's just horizontal.
Yeah, horizontal dancing, or vertical, perpendicular, TLs, whatever shapes we make. Okay, our next pleasure chest item is submitting to each other.
It goes hand in hand with dancing and the give and take of the masculine and feminine energy, which even males and females can embody within themselves. So non-gender specific dominance or submission, and taking that to the dance floor and either initiating the movement and the other follows, or receiving the movement, following the other person. And in our relationship, what I really see is, especially socially, and when we're planning to at times just go with what it is you want to do instead of mandating or controlling what it is I'd like to do, or even getting rid of my desire to make plans with you and figure out with you what it is we're doing and discussing it and talking about it, but really just handing the torch over. And it usually goes something like this: baby, I don't know what I want to do for dinner tonight. Would you pick something? And then Dorian just pulls out his phone. He's like, yep, absolutely, right.
Okay. That's
Any particular type of food you want to eat?
Anything in particular?
And I'm like,
what'd you have for lunch?
Yeah, what'd you have for lunch?
All right, let's not order what you ate for lunch. Or let's not go to a restaurant that is exactly what you had for lunch.
And it provides, I'm so grateful for that. And it provides me with just a little bit of relaxation. You know, I think that's part of what the partnership is about, and something that you can value in your personal life and relationship is being able to take a back seat and honor and put your partner in a position to make a decision and give them that authority and control.
Yeah, there is a level of not making yourself too important that is involved in submitting yourself to your partner. You have to be willing to not need to always be right. You need to not always have things go your way. It is a partnership for a reason, and you should be able to. Now, sometimes there's times where people make better decisions in certain areas, which you can. If that's the case, each other may be fine with it, but there are times where as you said, you just don't want to be bothered with it, or you're making that kind of decision doesn't help you out at that point in time. You need to kind of take a break of that. So being able to relinquish control, whether it's in, as you said, ordering food or something you do around the house, or making plans, or how your schedule is going to be, or what it is you're doing that night, or whatever it is. Being able to relinquish that control, submit to each other, and then do it. The key is that once you do it, don't give your partner a hard time about it either. Like if you say, okay, yeah, please, pick out dinner tonight, and your partner picks out dinner, don't be like, well, this is a shitty thing that you picked out, or God, I hate this restaurant, or because my rule is beggars can't be choosers. So if you're wanting someone to do something for you, zero say in that matter. Once you turn it up, take it. That's the way it's going to work. So you have to be fair on both sides of that. And not everybody does that. And I know I don't always do that sometimes. You don't always do that sometimes. Yeah, we get into our space, but we definitely need to make sure that we're thanking our partner for whatever it is that we're doing, and we're also not giving them a hard time about it after we've submitted control to them to do something. Yeah, submitting. What else you got in there?
Anything else?
I don't know. What else you got in there? What's a practical example for our audience that they can try today with submitting to each other? Other than food, because we talk food a lot, because we eat a lot.
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking something along the lines of roles. Thinking about what role you play in the relationship. Maybe you're the one who drives most of the time, or you're the one who makes the bed or does the dishes. And asking, would this be like submitting to each other? Asking your partner to do it for you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Asking them. And it's asking them, would they like to take control of that scenario?
Yeah. And maybe you need to negotiate.
Yeah.
I'll suck your cock later.
Yeah. If you, what do we had a negotiation. We had a negotiation that we didn't.
Oh, if I gave you health advice.
No. Was that it?
It
No, it was something that I was going to do. Oh, I know what it was.
What was
when
it?
when we were making our spreadsheet for our wedding guest list, and we were trying to like copy paste. We were trying to make sure the two spreadsheets were even. It was that I was going to finish it for you while you suck my cock while I do it. That was a good negotiation.
That never happened.
Never happened because we found an app that made it easier.
And we have that work to do.
We still, yes, exactly. Yeah, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. But that's a good negotiation. It's a good negotiation. But I believe, negotiation
So
is part
that's
of it.
one way that I would. What about you, Dorian? What's another example of submitting
I think
to your partner? How can couples submit to each other?
Well, I know one way you can practice it.
How?
Practicing it sexually by dominating and taking turns dominating and being submissive.
What does that look like?
So, as you mentioned, a lot of couples have roles. And they may even have roles in the bedroom that carry over into their regular life.
So one partner might be on top all the time.
Or something.
Or they might be behind all the time.
Or one partner
Or they might be the
initiates,
one that, goes for the first touch.
Yeah, so yes, it can be any of those, and it could be anything that anyone does in this in your sexual experience. Whether one partner is the more sexual, has a higher sexual drive than the other, so they usually initiate. Maybe one partner always goes down.
There could be many reasons for it,
many things,
but you can flip it.
Well, and that's what I was going to get to, is that you want to be able to flip those roles sometimes. And if you're generally the dominant partner in your sexual experience, try being the submissive and letting ask your partner to be the dominant one. Ask them to take control. Ask them to let you know exactly what they want or when they want it or how they want it, and take turns doing that. And as you get used to taking turns, I think it's even easier to do that sexually than it is to do that in normal day-to-day things.
You can ask the question so you can even practice in your sex, how it's going to play out in your day-to-day life. You can ask a question like this. What is it that you would like to do to me? You can ask, what is one fantasy you have about me? Describe your perfect day with me.
Right. Yeah. 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 Those sound like epic card questions.
Well, it just comes from this. I don't know if those actually, I think one or two of those are, but really just asking questions that position yourself in a way of like, not really prying, but inviting the other person to be descriptive and vocal while you listen, rather than saying what you'd like to do to them and how you want to do it, and have them respond however they do. So certainly there's ways to flip the script of sub and dominant roles in relationships.
Definitely. And as mentioned, if you test them out in different ways in your relationship, they will also carry over into the harder ways of your relationship. So if there are harder parts of your relationship for you to submit control, or harder subjects or matters in your relationship, if you learn to start doing them in the easier ways, the ways that don't have as much of an impact on you, slowly you'll start to experience the ability to do those same submissive acts or submitting to each other in some way in the harder areas. So but it takes practice.
What would you say then? So talk about that more. Like, how would that play out in a day-to-day scenario?
No, as some of the items we've mentioned, maybe it's just picking out the restaurant. If you're the one who always picks out the type of food, maybe you start once a week letting your partner pick it out.
In the beginning of our relationship, we were trying to figure out how each of us communicates, and what each of us would like. And you were really wondering what that was going to be like.
Yeah, that's because
Like,
I
do you
like to
like
make
to take
educated decisions.
direction?
No, it's not. To me, that's not that. I just like to have all the information so I know how to make a good decision. For me, I just want to know. The more I know about you, the more I can. Once again, what food you like, what do you like to eat for dinner? What's an exciting restaurant? What kind of moods are you in when you eat certain types of things? All that information gives all that. Knowing all that helps me make a better decision on a rando Thursday night when we're picking out dinner. Because now I'm playing all of that information I have in my head, and I'm like, this is exactly what she would like, or this is a great idea. Whether it's clothing, food, things for the home, events that we're going to go to, anything we're going to do, for me, just the more information I ask, the better I can make an educated decision. Because I don't want to make a decision based solely on my likes. I want it to be on what you would like, combined with what I like, what I think we would like together. And then sometimes I'll totally do it on what you like. And sometimes I'll be like, I don't have an opinion today. Whatever it is you like is awesome.
You do that a lot. You're really generous in considering what it is I may like. And you give that a lot of thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's easy. It's good when you have a very wide range of likes and interests and levels of doing activities or enjoying foods or enjoying places and music, because then wherever you fall in that spectrum is probably something that I'm cool with. So it's not like you're, if you have a very narrow amount of items, if you're too specific or you only like certain things, then it's much harder to give up control of something to your partner, because you only have a small spectrum of what you like. But when you're very open and wide with everything, it's the whole world is kind of, any answer you give is going to be like, perfect, let's just do this.
You're willing to look outside of your current scope.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part of relationships,
Mm-hmm.
is being open to receive another. And you each have your own set of past experiences, and you may or may not want to stay within those bounds, but
right.
More often than not, we stay within those bounds. And inviting another person into your life, you can explore that 2, 3-fold, 4-fold. You can figure out what you like to do together. That might be different than what either of you did independently.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's something that we've talked about a lot in our relationship, is starting over again and not letting our past no's control our future yeses.
Yeah. Boom.
That's a little tidbit for you. And I know for myself, one of the things that I said for our relationship is that I was going to try to say no much less frequently than I do. And I still do a lot of times, because you have to actively not let your own thoughts and what you would like and what you don't like, or what you didn't like in the past, so now you must not like it, and today control you. And even in yoga, 2 weeks ago, the yoga instructor is the name.
Yeah,
I always want to say teacher, but it's instructor. The yoga instructor said, as we were doing moves, they were like, just because you couldn't do something in the past, or you didn't enjoy doing a move in a certain way in the past, or you didn't think your flexibility was in the past, it doesn't mean your body doesn't change and now you can do that. Don't not try it because you thought it was hard before, because it was hard before. You might now be able to do that same move. And it kind of opened up in me trying things again, even if it was hard, or even if I didn't enjoy it, or even if it was difficult or something I didn't like, just reaffirming, try it now. See if it's still hard. Like in the yoga saying, see if you still can't stretch that way. And if you can't, okay, you still know where you're at. Now at least you know. But maybe you can do it a little bit better than before. Or maybe I like beats a little bit more than I used to. Or maybe rom-coms aren't too bad. Or maybe that vacation hiking across the desert isn't such a bad idea. It's a terrible idea. But all of those areas.
I would never ask you to do that with me.
Well,
a hike, yeah.
Right, our buddy John, he did Death Valley.
That's wild.
He hiked across Death Valley, and I was like, no way would I ever want to do that.
No,
and he said he had books.
Unless you have an umbrella.
Yeah, he was set up. Yeah, he backpacked across.
That's so rad.
Yeah,
such an adventure.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it opens you up to that. Opens you up to so much more. Marvel, I never watched the movies.
Oh yeah,
And now I have a newfound appreciation.
aren't they good?
And I also love watching you watch the movies
Oh,
too.
okay. Watch me get excited and jump around like a little kid.
Yeah, so you get to experience your partner too in new ways and be appreciative of sharing those moments.
Yeah, agreed. Those
So
moments
go
are big.
out there, ask your partner, stay curious, ask your partners what is something that they like to do, and just initiate that control, initiate that authority, and or on the other end, hear and listen for what your partner would like to do, and give them space to make the plan and take initiation and follow and experience and be open to it.
Yeah. And if you are the one who, say your partner is submitting to you, because we talked a lot about being able to let go, but if your partner does submit to you, try to be considerate still in how you exercise that control. Because what you won't want to do is your partner gives you control over something that is important to them, and then you abuse it. And then it's going to make it that much harder for your partner to ever do that again. So you want to make sure that you always do things lovingly, make decisions lovingly. Don't just think about yourself just because you could. You can, and you can find ways to make a decision or do something that your partner's giving you control to do in a way that makes you happy. But also think about how will this also help your partner to be happy. And it's no good if one partner's really happy and the other person's not because of the decision you made. It's like, no, let's try to keep everyone on the same wavelength. And
you both want to enjoy yourselves.
Yeah. So, and, whatever it is, even if it's something in work or bills,
there can still be negotiation.
Yeah. Right.
Where you go back and forth to talk it through and figure out what it is you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could even be in bigger items, like if you're searching for an apartment or buying a home, or deciding on where to live or where to go, or something with family. It doesn't have to, or your finances. We've talked loosely about loose items that are kind of everyday, not that serious, but there could be times when you're submitting control to your partner in very big items that are time consuming and cost a lot of money. So you still use the same care and love in those type of decisions when you're doing so on either side of the submission or the dominance, if we'll use those words.
The matrix.
So I believe we are done for today.
Great getting cozy with you all and speaking with you about some of our most intimate and personal topics.
Yes. We hope that we've provided you with some great information, some areas that you can use, or some ideas you can use within your personal life and your relationships or future relationships. If you have questions on anything we've talked about, please email us at ouruniversalforce@gmail.com, or you can hit us up individually at Ann@ouruniversalforce.com or Dorian@ouruniversalforce.com. We're also on all the social medias and platforms, so look for us there. Hit up our website. If you haven't listened to earlier episodes, please go through the catalog, enjoy the episodes, lots of great topics, and we will have more coming soon. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.